11, Local First.
A crane traveling southbound on 222 hit Dry Tavern Road overpass. We'll tell you what this means for local traffic.
Plus, our John Buffone speaks with Congressman Smucker on the latest tax reform plan. But first, an EPHRATA man is resentenced for murdering his parents when he was a juvenile. Good evening, I'm Holly Harrer. The Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional to sentence juveniles to life in prison without parole, which has reopened the case of Michael Bourgeois. News 11's Brendan Leslie was at the resentencing today and has more from the courthouse. Brendan.
Back in 2001, 17-year-old Michael Bourgeois murdered and tortured his parents in their EPHRATA home. He was sentenced to life in prison without a chance of receiving parole. Now the Supreme Court has deemed that unconstitutional, and today he was resentenced.
It's hard to talk about this case.
After nearly 4 hours of testimonies from character witnesses and Michael Bourgeois himself, Judge David Ashworth handed Bourgeois a new sentence of 80 years to life for 2 counts of first-degree murder. He was originally sentenced to life behind bars without parole, but the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional to not give juveniles a chance at parole.
I mean, to have to go back and resentence on this, as I've said many times before, I just think I understand the law, we follow the law, but there's a moral aspect to it, and we shouldn't have to do this. People shouldn't be in a position, and you know, he signed a piece of paper which said, I agree to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole.
In 2001, Bourgeois and an accomplice raided Lucy and Terry Smith's Sancourt home in EPHRATA overnight. They tortured the couple for hours before killing them. Stebbins said this was the worst case of his 27-year career, and he was hoping Bourgeois would get a longer sentence.
The sentence, I think, will ensure that he's not going to get out, certainly not before he's 97 years old. And I don't believe he should ever see the light of day.
Bourgeois spends much of his nearly hour-long testimony speaking about his spiritual transformation in prison. He also told the court the numerous reasons that led him to this vicious attack.
I think that was really telling to me personally, that it just sounded like me up there instead of talking about them and their lives and what a loss we had. There were a couple things, but basically what he did was complain about him.
Bourgeois' sister, Kristen Tebby, testified on behalf of her brother. She described him as a faithful young man who wants to do good things. She told Judge Ashworth it's a good idea to give Bourgeois a second chance at freedom. Although Stedman disagrees with that statement, he respects that Bourgeois' family has found it in their hearts to forgive him.
These 2 individuals, they have no appeals. They don't get a do-over. They're dead. They've been dead.
District Attorney Craig Stedman says although it wasn't the sentence he hoped for, he's happy he never has to relive this case again. Reporting in Lancaster, Brendan Leslie, News 11.
All right, thank you, Brendan. Well, a tractor trailer carrying a crane on Route 222 hit an overpass in BRECKNOCK Township this morning, closing lanes and backing up traffic. News 11's Taylor Tosheff is live in the studio with more. Taylor.
Holly, a little after 9 a.m. this morning, a trailer carrying a crane was traveling southbound on Route 222 when they failed to pass the height clearance and hit the Route 897 overpass. Crews responded quickly to the scene. 1 other vehicle was involved in the crash. A J.D. Ekman tractor trailer carrying a crane on Route 222 hit a main overpass in BRECKNOCK Township just after 9 a.m. this morning. The tractor was traveling southbound when it first came in contact with the overpass on Orchard Road, the driver not realizing the impact.
Left a scuff mark on the bridge. Truck driver didn't really know about it. They continued down the road.
A motorist traveling behind the tractor tried to pass, but as both vehicles approached the Dry Tavern Road overpass, the crane again failed to make the height clearance.
When they hit, obviously that resettled the crane. And they obviously, when they hit this one, the chain that was carrying the crane and everything broke and shattered.
The motorist declined to be on camera, but said she heard the impact at the first overpass and figured a tire blew out. When they went under Dry Tavern overpass, her windshield felt the impact.
Some debris came off the bridge, some debris came off the crane, hit one of the vehicles that was traveling alongside it on 222.
The debris landed on the passenger seat.
There are pieces of the chain everywhere, so we're going to have to clean that up, but fortunately only 1 car was involved.
Reporting in BRECKNOCK Township. 222 southbound reopened at 1:45 this afternoon. Both lanes of the overpass on 897 opened shortly after 2 p.m. PennDOT officials have closed off the right shoulder of the overpass in order to keep pressure off the damaged beam. Reporting live in studio, Taylor Tashev, News 11.
All right, thank you, Taylor. Well, it was a warm Friday to gear up for the weekend ahead. Meteorologist Dave Allen has more in our first look at the forecast.
October 30th through November 11th, Weaver Markets is celebrating 55 years of serving the community. All of the specials these 2 weeks can be found at weavermarkets.com.
Holly, it definitely does not feel like November out there, but that's about to change. Expect cooler air to filter in later this evening, and a seasonable day is on tap for tomorrow. Then things get interesting. Stick around. We have a warm-up, then a possible big cool down coming our way. I'll have details coming up in just a few. Holly.
All right, thanks, Dave. Well, after House Republicans unveiled their long-awaited tax reform plan, Congressman Smucker says this will simplify the tax code for working-class Americans in northern Lancaster County. Our John Buffone spoke with the congressman and has more on the development.
After some delay, the House Republicans finally released their tax reform plan early Thursday, touting its simplicity.
It's simplified to the point where they literally will be able to file their taxes on a form the size of a postcard. It has a limited number of items that have to be taken into consideration. Most people are going to be able to do it on their own. It'll save a lot of time and save a lot of dollars just in that regard.
The plan includes shrinking the tax brackets from 7 to 4 and nearly doubling the standard deduction for single and married households. But it also repeals state and local deductions while saving the property tax break. Opposition to the bill says this tax plan will only benefit the wealthy, especially corporate businesses who will see a tax cut from 35 to 20%. But Congressman Lloyd Smucker says that logic doesn't add up.
All you have to do is compare the new tax brackets compared to what we had before. Look at the loopholes that were closed at the top, that are used by some of the wealthiest filers. In fact, the top rate of 39.6%, we still have a top rate of 39.6%. So that argument just doesn't make sense when you look at the numbers.
Some feared that the new plan would cap the amount of pre-tax contributions made to a 401k, but it turns out that will not be on the chopping block.
We've had a number of discussions where people are looking at this who have to hit certain things to be on target for retirement and just weren't comfortable because that would have totally turned them sideways.
President Trump said he'd like the bill on his desk by Christmas, and Congressman Smucker is cautiously optimistic about the bill's progression.
This has been very well received in our conference. That's not to say there won't be changes made. We're at the beginning stages of a process that we'll go through here, both in the House and then, of course, in the Senate as well. So I would expect there could potentially be some changes along the way.
And that was our John Buffone reporting. Congressman Smucker also said there will be an online tool available shortly that will allow people to enter their information to see how much they will pay in taxes under the new plan. Well, after a year-long evaluation, a decision has been made to retain the 50-acre Furnace Hills Girl Scout camp in Denver, with plans for future review. This comes after an August decision to only retain 10 acres of the property. The Board of Directors for Girl Scouts of the Hearts of Pennsylvania stated the site will be used for troop camping, day camping, and other membership-related activities, but with an additional review over the course of 3 years against defined utilization of and financial guidelines established by the board. Hotels across Lancaster County have opted out of their partnership with Discover Lancaster over a proposal to fund additional marketing, also known as the excise tax. According to LNP, the tourism agency wants to nearly triple a tax paid by hotel guests to better fund their marketing budget. Among the hotels that filed a complaint in Mamandis were the Hampton Inn and Suites in Ephrata and the Inn at Leola Village. Discover Lancaster hopes to boost guest room rates from 1.1% to 3%, which is about $3 million more a year to the tax's proceeds. Discover Lancaster denied a request for comment today. Well, there's still plenty of local news coming your way on the early report. A decision on the fate of Furnace Hills Girl Scout Camp in Denver, what's to come of the 50-acre property. Plus, chocolate lovers are being treated at a local sweet shop this weekend, how they're celebrating Customer Appreciation Day. And later in sports, Chad Landers will be live at COCALICO High School to talk about their BRC 11 Game of the Week against Solanco. Wilbur Chocolate in LITITZ would like to say thank you to all of their wonderful customers. Tomorrow they will have a Customer Appreciation Day with a DJ, face painting, games, and plenty of great sales.
We're going to have a lot of fun with our customers who we really appreciate every day throughout the year, and those people who like to visit us and shop and patronize our business.
All the fun will be during their normal business hours from 10 to 5. EPHRATA can now breathe a sigh of relief. The EPHRATA National Bank received a Christmas tree, a long-standing tradition and a symbol for the start of the holiday season. The blue spruce comes from Lincoln Heights neighborhood and was graciously donated by the Schellheimer family, who will have the honor of flipping the switch at the tree lighting celebration.
It's kind of a feeling of relief because it is the key feature to the event, the tree lighting. So it is relief. It's nice to see people in the community willing to pitch in and, in this case, donate their trees. So yeah, it's kind of a key part to the whole celebration.
The tree lighting celebration will be on November 24th at 5:30 p.m. outside the EPHRATA National Bank on East Main Street. Benchmark Construction in Brownstown hosted a job fair looking for aspiring carpenters. Applicants had on-the-spot interviews and also had the opportunity to showcase some of their carpentry skills through a series of stations. Christian RECKNAGEL, the Vice President of Leadership and Culture at Benchmark, told us hosting job fairs allows them to meet many amazing potential employees and get to them on a more personal level.
We're on a perpetual interviewing process and recruiting process. So this is the fourth one we've done in the last 3 years. So we try to do maybe about 2 a year. Just it's been a useful process for us, and we've gotten 2 or 3 hires out of each of the ones that we've done.
Benchmark plans to invite their top applicants back for further interviews. Children 2 to 4 years old alongside their parents learned about early childhood education and tips for success. It's all part of the Grow the Seed of Learning program. Families rotated through several game stations and were able to sit down with medical and educational professionals who gave them tips on how to read to their kids and help them learn as they age.
They are making letters, so they're learning about letter shapes such as sticks, circles. They're learning about letter sounds. They're tracing in sand. There's a lot of tactile learning. There's a lot of reading at the stations, sight word reading.
There will be another session at the Keystone Villa in EPHRATA focusing on oral language and vocabulary on February 6th at 6 p.m. Well, Dave Allen will join us next with a check on your extended forecast. Plus, the iPhone X is finally here. We'll tell you what it comes with and how much it's going for. But first, here's a check on Wall Street at the closing bell. Apple lovers anxiously awaiting the arrival of the newest iPhone rejoiced today. The highly anticipated iPhone X hit stores. It features a 5.8-inch Super Retina display, the first OLED screen, and most durable screen yet, just to name a few features. The device is being sold for $1,149 on Apple.com, but obviously varies depending on your service provider and plan.
You getting one?
I don't know. I don't know if I have the money for that.
Me either. I'll stick with my iPhone 4.
Yeah, for now.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for us. I'm Holly Harris.
Frank Gatz, we'll see you tonight.